The Konami Code is real, and it's a cheat code that's applied to fantasy football. Years ago, there was this quarterback named Tim Tebow. Wasn't the greatest quarterback out there, but due to the rushing production combined with his deep ball, we were able to get a QB1 on the spreadsheets, even though he wasn't a QB1 on the field. But now we're looking at another Tim Tebow situation with rookie quarterback Anthony Richardson. As we're getting ready to go into his rookie season, we see some things that could develop for us that could help us win our fantasy leagues, because he's a tremendous rusher and he has a deep ball that can go for miles, and that could help us in fantasy, even though he's still developing and may not be the best quarterback on the field. But before we dig into the stats today, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You need to hit that subscribe button so you can stop missing out on these informative videos on these prospects, guys off the waiver wire, guys that help you win your league and strategies and everything else. Click that subscribe button. Stop missing out. But we're looking at Anthony Richardson today, and the production matters, but here at the quarterback position, the intangibles do too. And the thing about him, he wasn't super productive out of Florida, but the rushing production was immense. And his highlight package, the tape, he had some surreal moments, but also completed just 53% of his passes last year. So that's something you want to keep an eye on. That's why we're considering him more of a developmental quarterback, especially for the long term. But he is declared the starter. He has earned that job and looks like he's going to get every bit of opportunity to prove himself this year. Moving on to the advanced metrics here. Average depth of target downfield looking good. He slings it deep because he's got a rocket for an arm. One of the strongest arms in the National Football League right now. And his adjusted completion rate higher than expected at 64.3% last year and 64.6% on his career. 19.4% of his attempts went for 20 yards or more. That's top 11 in the nation last year. And 42.72% of his dropbacks were under play action. That's in the top 30% of the NFL. This is a guy that has a huge arm, slings it downfield. The acuity of targets downfield is tremendous considering how much air he can get under the football. What does that mean for us in fantasy? It means that those deep ball attempts, if those get converted, could be splash plays. And then you're going to combine that with the rushing advantage you got, because his size adjusted athleticism is tremendous, 99th percentile. You have a guy that could go off, go nuclear, like a rookie Cam Newton, anytime during the season. We're going to talk strategy on that and what you could potentially do later in the year. But looking at his draft profile, drafted 4th overall. They drafted him 4th overall for a reason. 6'4", 244 pounds, big, thick quarterback right here that can move. And then looking at the athleticism here, this is the juicy part of his game along with the arm talent. 4.43 40-yard dash, 99th percentile, and then the size adjusted speed score, 99th percentile as well. Dude's got a rocket for an arm, can move, can be a running back in space. That could allow for us to get some fantasy production out of him. And if he's running a good bit, if he's getting you those rushing touchdowns, that could allow him to be an easy QB1 in fantasy. And if that's happening, then he's going to be a good get. And there's not much to work with here with the Indianapolis Colts. Michael Pittman Jr. here is your main wide receiver. Alec Pierce is going to be your deep ball guy. Josh Downs, you need to watch for him in the slot because he's a very nuanced slot receiver who plays bigger than his size. The running back position is very sus right now. Jonathan Taylor's out for the first 4 weeks. That leaves us Evan Hall, Deion Jackson, Zach Moss. We touched on that on an earlier video. But he's going to have to do some things this year, which means he might be slinging a lot to Michael Pittman, just eyeing targets to him. And he might be slinging deep balls downfield to Alec Pierce, but he might be running it a good bit too. They might be designing some runs with him as well. After all, when you get a 244-pound player who can run a 4.43, That's going to be a dangerous commodity when they got the ball in their hands because he's faster than Zach Moss. He's up there with Deion Jackson, faster than Evan Hall, and he's bigger. Next, look at the schedule here. The bye week's on week 11, and then after that, we have a sweetness of games here where he could go off and give you some results. That being said, if we're getting the rookie doom and gloom in the start of the season, he's on somebody else's roster here, and he's giving you some production with the rushing upside, but he's leaving more to be desired because he's throwing some interceptions. There's some turnovers, the usual rookie woes, the rookie development. Then we hit the bye week here in week 11. That could be a transition point here. That's where we might want to strategize to see if we can trade for him on the cheap. If things aren't looking good first few weeks of the season, you may want to make a trade week 8, 9, 10. Try and catch him on the cheap. Have him on the back end of your roster. And things could spike up as they strategize during that bye week and going against Tampa Bay, who's probably going to be done for the year. Play against Tennessee. That might be a slower game. Divisional matchup here. Cincinnati. That's going to be a faster-paced game. Atlanta. They can score on that. Vegas. That's going to be an interesting one if you can make it to the championship game. But this schedule is very good considering they're coming out of a bye. So that's a strategy you may want to do middle of the season. And we're already talking waivers and trades right now to help you get ready for something that's going to happen 2 months from now. That's why you need to hit subscribe right now, because we're going to keep you situationally ready to build your fantasy team. But right now, in drafts, or the drafts that you already had, you already know he's a mid-round dart throw. In home leagues, he probably fell even later. In home leagues, he was probably a double-digit pick, a guy that was just falling in the draft because you were scared of rookies, and you might even drafted him at a discount, which is good to see here. But Anthony Richardson at this price, QB 11, 9th-round pick, not too bad. We got some other quarterbacks here that you could lean on as well. Really, you just want to pick your poison, but you need him because he has league-winning upside. Because if he hits to his potential, it's not just upside. It's not just the casual QB1, because he could really suck and still give you QB1 numbers. That's the thing about it. Then you're just worried about him getting pulled. But really, if he starts to click, he could give you the numbers to win your league. That's the thing about him. He could give you that kind of advantage at the quarterback position because he's got that Konami code, and you want to gamble on that. You got to gamble somewhere in your draft. Where are you going to gamble? Let me know in the comments below where you gambled in your draft. Is it on Richardson here, or is it on another player? Was it on the back end? Was it in the beginning? Who did you make that gamble on? Because you have to make a gamble in your draft. You don't need him because he might suck. That might happen. That is in the realm of possibility because he completed just 53% of his passes last year. He's going to do rookie things. He's tagged as a developmental quarterback. We know that. There's also safer quarterbacks in his range. There's other players in his range. There's other outcomes to do. You don't want him. You want to fade quarterback. You want to pay up for quarterback. You want to do different things. That's understandable. We're not here to sell them to you. We're here to create strategy. We're here to build teams. We're here to talk football. We're here to get you ready for the season. The more you're thinking about this stuff, the more ready you're going to be to make your moves in season. The more you're going to find what you want. The more you're at the grindstone at this, looking at the waivers, looking at the potential activities in season, the more you're going to be ready to make those moves and be ready to help your team get to the playoffs. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. I want to thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.